Good morning. Good morning.
Artifact, Alien Friends, Cool Cats, Phantom, Axie Infinity, PSSSD, My Pet Hooligans, Blockworks, Moonbirds, Meme Land, Magic Eden, Soul Rarity, OK Bears, The Habibis, Lazy Lions, Hyundai, Akutars, and Gangsters All-Stars. All hacked last night. Good morning, everybody.
There you go. Dekenza got the hack Discord alpha. Show's over. You heard it here. Have a good one, folks.
Me 6. It was a Me 6 exploit.
Yes.
Believe.
That's what it's pointed to. An exploit of like a Me 6 employee, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Was that what it was? Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, probably somebody's falling on the sword. They're like, oh, our shit's good. It was one of our idiot employees.
And, I feel like people are being, especially the people who are left here, right? They're relatively more sophisticated. We're not in a frothy bull phase where a bunch of new people are being attracted to the markets, nor were any of these projects like near a mint. So it didn't there weren't a bunch of people there waiting for a link necessarily. Look, I hope nobody was affected too badly. I'm sure maybe some people got caught up in it, but probably least effective from that standpoint, as I don't think anyone was expecting, like, you're not waiting for a link, right? So it's not as effective when you're not. Remember the last good one was the other land hack on Instagram. I mean, they got dogs, a mutant and an ape or something. Crazy. So.
Yeah, that one was pretty gnarly. Some of the biggest ones were probably what was that? Was it Phantom Galaxy? Remember that big one? It's like, there was like one of the original like 200,000 people in the Discord, but it was like legit.
Yeah, I forgot the name.
Bear X was huge too.
Well, Bear X was a bit. I mean, well, I always like to point to Creature Toads was the first. This was historic, guys. Remember, go buy your Creature Toads. They were the first Discord that was ever hacked.
Yeah, Phantom Galaxy. Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Link. Take over the Discord, mint is loud, all that shit. That was a shout out to Creature Toads. They were the first.
Let's put some real clickbaity title in the top 10 Discord hacks of all time.
There you go. Love the Creature Toads. I'd be stacking my flies.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked in on that in a while.
That's what you got.
Is my APY still $1 million?
No, it's like 150,000%, but that's what you have to do with those. You put them there, you forget.
What was the site? SwampDAO?
SwampDAO, yeah.
.io or what? Oh,
I know. I'll go look for you.
SwampDAO.finance? I'm not.
Could be, man. Just type in random things and click on them and see what.
Yeah, that's exactly how.
See what happens.
I'll check it later. It's all good.
Your link pitch? No,
wow, help a brother.
SwampDAO.finance. Yep.
Oh, it is. Okay. Look at that. See how many flies I have accumulated. I have set that and forgetted that. Can you stake your toads now? Is that a thing?
Yes, I have staked all my toads. You earn 5 per day.
Oh, so I should be doing that.
Yeah.
Because I have like 200 of them.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding. I have 4.
What am I earning? I am earning, I think, 600 flies a day, 490 flies a day from my
It's not showing me anything. What's going on here?
So let me see. 490 times 2 cents. Not bad. I'm making $10 a day from my toad.
There you go. 153,000 APY. Sustainable.
It's all of these things, it really just matters how much money is locked in the contract. TVL, right? TVL is a vanity metric if you're using it to try to project things out. But if you understand that what are your tokens? They're a right to a percentage of the total value locked. So all that really matters is how much value is locked in the contract, because you can pull out that percentage at any time. So if something's very low, and you buy 10% of something, and you have 10% of the tokens, and $1 million is added to that contract, well, 100 grand of it is yours if you take it out quick enough. It's really how all of this works. We've been in P2E for a long time, guys. The P is you get into these Ponzi's. The E is you get out first before everybody else. So it's P2E. There you go.
I thought we changed that to P and O.
Yeah, but we're talking about DeFi. Right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, and DeFi was P2E. There was no other reason to buy it but E. Okay, that's why play and own is profound. Staking makes sense than play and own.
Yeah, we need to talk about some play and own again. Raid Party, I don't know if there's much meat on that bone right now. What's going on with Raid Party? Have they, what have they been building? What have they been doing?
Listen to my answer and update yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Was that yesterday? I don't know. Fuck all the days.
Look, I can't find.
Oh yeah. You were talking about your free market 12th.
Yeah, and here's the issue. Okay, I cannot find a P2E right now that is down less than 60%. Most of them are
for sure.
more. Okay, most of them are down more, and I'm not excusing whatever internal issues RP had, but I find it very, very hard to make sweeping judgments about projects during periods like that. I mean, I'm going through this with Lemons, with Wonder Pals, with a lot of projects that I'm analyzing on a daily basis that have extremely decimated floors, 80, 90% off the highs, but they're all 80 to 90% off the highs. So it's very hard to get in and say, well, this individual thing within Starcatch, or this individual thing within this, or this did that. And they all have their individual issues. No one's saying they don't. It's just a lot harder to tell what did what in a period like this when everything gets depressed. So P2E, yes, Raid Party's in a phase right now where they need to release the next features. The next things coming up are guilds and e-confetti. And e-confetti is similar to what we're building over at Star Wolves, which is a one-way LP token that helps lock value in the LP, and then gives you a special one-way token that you cannot change back into Uniswap LP tokens, but you can use within the game for certain utilities. Multipliers on your confetti, other benefits and advantages that you could get by staking that. So it encourages people to fund the LP and then locks that money in the contract. And then any percentage earned on those LP tokens, which now belong to the project contract, that is put back into the game somehow, whether it's for the leaderboard or whether it's distributed in a different manner. That is the features at Raid Party that people are waiting for. And while all of these projects need the general market to get off the mat before you see any material rise in floor price, internally, with regards to Raid Party, that's what we're waiting for. We need guilds and we need e-confetti for the next leg up in that franchise.
I'm enhancing my fighter. You've inspired me again.
Well, I am
after my spectacular fail.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a bit of a weird spot in that sense. You guys know I enhanced my hero about a couple of weeks ago, and I fail. And I didn't just fail, I downgraded, right? So when you downgrade, like my hero's at a 3x multiplier. I get 3 times whatever I'm earning because of my hero. Once I downgrade, I go to 2.7, okay? And I have to remove one of my fighters. So you add a fighter every time you upgrade. If you downgrade, you have to remove a fighter. So that will send me down out of the top 20 on Raid Party. But if I don't reveal, my team just sits there. So my team's been in a holding pattern. It's just sitting there. I'm actually able to enhance the fighters. So that's what I did last week, because you need to show movement every week to not be penalized on the leaderboard. And right now, everyone is really, because we're waiting for these new features to roll out, the only reason to enhance and play is either if you believe in the game long term, which is not how most NFT people think. So the reason people are playing the game is for this leaderboard. There's $700,000 worth of ETH up for grabs at the end of the season based on where you show up in the leaderboard. If you are in, let's just take an example, 7th place on 1 week, and the next week you maintain 7th place, but you've done nothing. In other words, you haven't enhanced a fighter or a hero or made any movement, you get penalized for half your tickets that week. So you will be penalized for not moving. Every week, you need to do something, whether it's enhance a fighter, and they want to see delta, which in fancy Greek trading terms means movement. Okay, so they want to see delta. I enhance fighters, but to your point, you said you're enhancing a fighter. Now, I'm waiting until Friday. On Friday, I will have enough confetti to do 2 hero enhances. So that way, if they are both successful, and that is a big if, because once you get to where I am enhancing, it is basically a 50-50 coin flip. But if I can win 2 coin flips in a row, I will get my hero up to a 3.3 multiplier, and I'll be able to add in another fight. This should juice my ass up the leaderboard. I'll probably be top 5, top 6, or something like that. If one fails, maybe I stay in place. If one downgrades, maybe I get even more fucked and knocked down into the top 50. But I actually haven't done anything for a few days because I'm just stacking my confetti to do 2 hero enhances on Friday. They take the snapshot at a random time every Saturday. And that means that if you watch the confetti price, and hey, for all you traders out there that are bored with nothing to do and maybe want a little play here, confetti tends to spike late Wednesday through Thursday and Friday, and then dies on Saturday because people need to buy confetti to enhance for the leaderboard. So you tend to get small spikes. And in a shitcoin like this, a small spike is like 50%. So if you wanted to take a little flyer or a play there, and mind you, it's very low liquidity. So factor that into what you're doing. But
watch those sandwich attacks on that one too.
Tons of sandwich attacks.
Yeah, they get pretty nasty on that one.
So yeah, that is Raid Party in a nutshell. I think the majority of the pullback is the market. Internally, they need to release their next features. If the market got off the mat, I could see them having a small bump. But again, I don't think they will be valued properly until we get guilds or e-confetti. So kind of what we're all waiting for there.
See what Crypto Kermit's list is saying too. Honestly, you know what? I'm good. Hey guys, it's episode 125. Thanks for tuning in. I'm R2DJ. This is Free Market Capitalist. Say the hey now.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. We'll just roll with it. Today was a little late on the content. There was the Discord hacks. There was the OK Bears or not OK Bears kind of shenanigans still going on. Slow news day. Markets are down this morning, so I guess that's probably.
I'm curious now. You have me with bated breath. Click on the list.
This one, EtherOrcs alloys. Allies back up there on the top, I guess.
That's crazy too. I mean,
what a glow up, as they say.
Right, and that's the thing. Like all the projects that are there at the top are really only at the top because the underlying assets fell so much that the yield is now juiced. Right, you know that's how yields work. Bombs go down, yields go up. Right, this is basically it. So right now.
Eternal Elves is just consistently holding their own, though. I mean, they've
shout out
been there for a while. Good for them.
Yeah, Jesus. So, looking at this list, you can understand the state of P2E. Everything has been killed, and we're waiting for the entire sector to get off the mat, and then each project has its own internal things. I'd argue EtherOrcs with their dungeon crawls, man, they are gonna rocket when we finally get out of this bear that we're in for crypto and P2E. Those dungeon crawls are addicting. I am not earning nearly enough Zug a day, and every day I'm shopping orcs looking for good deals on high Zug because high Zug before dungeon crawls, you would buy 2 floor orcs, which would give you a yield of 32, about you on average 32 Zug for 2 floor orcs, and it would be cheaper than buying one of the highly ranked orcs, which would earn you, say, 25 Zug, okay, because he had special weaponry or had gotten to, look at whatever. Now, you obviously, from a Zug production standpoint, say, why would I spend more money on earning less Zug? Now that dungeon crawls have begun, the amount of Zug you earn determines how powerful you are. So you want high Zug producers because they have the most attack damage. And that is why now now you're not buying a high-end orc just because of its Zug production. And that's how they were priced before. So right now, during this period when everybody thinks everything's dead, nothing's coming back, P2E was a fad, all that stuff, there are deals to be had on very high-end orcs. So, that's
Hey, the deals are out there. I mean, not to say that these numbers don't change rapidly in the positions. I mean, they fluctuate almost like on a daily basis, really. But there's definitely some opportunities out there. But goddamn, Eternal Elves has held like a 200% ROI for a long time. Even as bad as Raid Party is down, right? And obviously this is based on the entrance point too. They're still at like a pretty solid 45%. Now that's completely different if you bought a month and a half ago when the assets were substantially higher. But if you were to enter now, not terrible, but a lot of familiar faces up there and continuing to do, great jobs. Imposters is one that's always been doing really well since that went down to the Among Us kind of derivative game there. So this is a good list, though. If you guys are into P2E or are looking for some more kind of yield type investments in the NFT space, check out Crypto Kermit. He posts these. It's every day, I believe, right? Every day it gets
the fungus among us.
Yeah, so the fungus among us.
Yeah, the fungus among us.
Seb, what's going on, dude? Good to hear from you. All is well over here. Hope you are you're doing well too, man. It's been a while.
There is a gentleman named Seb in Raid Party who posts some very, very beautiful hash. I don't think that's you, Seb, but I just wanted to shout out Seb from Raid Party, who really comes through with some nice hash on a day. We'll take a dab together every once in a while, talk about how down bad we are.
Speaking of down bad, let's look at the raid going on in the market here. What a segue.
No, I mean, yesterday. Yesterday was a day because we had Jay Powell come out. And
Jay Powell.
Right? We had a week of New York Fed manufacturing indicating major recession, either currently in or coming. You had Jay Powell come out, give a Wall Street Journal interview, and talk for an hour as hawkish as I've heard a Fed member talk in 20 years. Okay? This should have knocked markets down 5%. This should, where we are and with everything going on, that should have been the Kaiba. It should have been, all right, new lows, here we come. What does the market do? It rallies almost 3%, off of that. Now, as a market observer, you look at something like that and you go, well, we got as bad news as we could get, but we went up. That tells somebody like me that we've already priced in the worst. Something I've been saying on this show for a long time is that when you're looking for a bottom, you can't watch the data because the data is backwards looking. And it's always going to look like it's getting worse, even as asset prices have already bottomed, right? So we're on watch for that. And when you see something like we saw this week, naturally, I started to say, well, it looks like, we've priced in a lot of the worst and all that. Well, lo and behold, and it's not even us, it's Asia. Every night, America, where we're feeling good again, everyone's happy, we go to sleep. Asia wakes the fuck up and just smacks everything. I'm watching it all night. ETH, S&P 500, the VWAP. Anytime S&P gets to VWAP, those fucking demons over there just start level in the thing. So
Gets to what? VWAP?
volume weighted average price.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It is now, in my opinion, the most watched indicator in market, and it's the most watched because it works. If you watch the S&Ps recently, VWAP has been containing us like to the dollar every time, and it's been a good metric. It's going to become one of these things, like everything else, like Bollinger Bands, like everything, where eventually everyone's watching the same thing and it stops working because everyone's doing the same thing. Yeah. But it's a fabulous metric. Think about what volume weighted average price. In other words, it doesn't just account for what the average price was over a period of time, which is if you look at a 200-day moving average, a 50-day. These are the things you hear oft quoted by technical analysts. That is measuring price over an integral of time. Volume weighted average price is finding you an average price based on how much was actually traded at that level.
I like that, actually. That makes sense to me.
Exactly.
Because in my mind, all of these transactions are like little bits of information that are building a database, right? Yeah. The market getting smarter, the market moving. So the more volume that occurs, the more efficient the market is, right? Even if it's like by a very, very minuscule amount.
Exactly. Now, there's still a time factor involved. You get to decide how far back you could look at the VWAP for the year. You could look at the VWAP for the month. But because it takes volume into account, it's a much more fashionable and valuable metric right now. So S&P last night rallied into VWAP. They wake up in Asia and they smacked it down again. So this is kind of the state of markets right now. I'm a little surprised by the fact that it did seem like sellers were exhausted. At the same time, I don't feel like there's any buyers. This is just gut, this is just feel, because you do all the technical analysis in the world, but you have to come in every day, look at the tape, and then just, what is your gut? So what does it feel like out there? And it takes time to like hone that. But it just, it feels like people don't want to sell and people don't want to buy. Now, the longer that goes on, the more bullish it is. But during periods like this, people become skittish. So it usually doesn't go on too long, right? And that's what you're worried about, is that here are the two technical patterns that tend to cause bottoms in markets. Double bottoms, inverse head and shoulders. We talk about it all the time. Double bottom means maybe we have another $100 to go to put in a double bottom on major markets. Or inverse head and shoulders means we're seeing 1,400 on ETH, maybe a little lower than that. So, this as a technician, I'm just wondering, are we going to get a double bottom? Are we going to get an inverse, or is there a small chance we get the V? The V is in jeopardy right now. If we lose 1950, you can kiss the V goodbye. There was only about a 10% chance of that happening anyway. But if you're watching spot right now, ETH is at 1987, and every pop is being sold on these shorter time frame charts. So if we lose 1950 today, I would expect the lows to be tested at the very least, and it would be an indication that maybe we're going to put in an inverse head and shoulders, and we have one more major leg down.
Yeah, it looks like 1,800 is the kind of the next major point that we'd be testing after that, right? Is that about right?
And that's the thing, if we could get our wish, we would want to do 1,400 in a day and then come in the next day and it would be back up to 19. But it could just be slow paper cuts all the way down, just making people feel worse and worse and more dejected every day. Remember, sentiment's a big thing. And I look around this market and I still see hope. I still see hodl. I still see people saying, don't worry about it. Everything always comes back, dollar cost average, buy the dip. That shit is dangerous. We've trained an entire generation to believe that. And that is the ugliest fucking chart I've ever seen in my life. That's a scary chart as a technician.
This, like the zoom out all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like a big version of this.
I would not zoom out right now.
Zooming out is not a good feeling.
Yeah, don't zoom out. Zoom out.
So look, and here's the thing, right? I have often kind of equated the earlier downticks in the market, not equated it to 2017, 2018. In fact, quite the opposite. Said it didn't feel like that. Didn't feel like that yet. This isn't like the thing that most people probably want to hear, but it is actually starting to feel like that a little bit. Where like if you look at that big that big swell there, we had that kind of bounce down. Yeah, at that point, like it wasn't like you said, the sentiment wasn't like all hope is lost. It was like, oh, okay, this is down. It can't go any lower than that. And then it just did, and it did. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here. Times are different. Crypto's in a much different spot than it was back then. And back then, I will say this: in 2017 and 2018, there was a real idea that maybe crypto could die. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think it had gone through its chops enough, or maybe some people that had been in from the beginning would say otherwise. But there was an idea that like maybe this isn't what we need. Maybe this isn't actually a thing. Maybe a cryptocurrency was just the tulip mania or whatever, and it fell and it fell and it fell and it fell and it sat there 2018, 2019, 2020, and then life sprung back up. I have never once in this time felt like crypto can now go to zero. I believe that some can. Obviously, like Terra is a great example of something like that. It's possible for individual chains that aren't operating in good faith or are doing sketchy stuff or aren't built properly, have security holes in them and whatnot, to absolutely do that. But at this point, the only thing that's different in this atmosphere from that one to me is that Ethereum has absolutely 100% solidified itself as no longer an altcoin. I guess you could say it's Bitcoin and it's Ethereum. Back then it was just Bitcoin and everything else was an altcoin. Ethereum is no longer in that status. I mean, ETH is ETH. But other than that, yeah, I mean, can it go down further? It's starting to feel like it could for sure. But it's not a bad thing. We just don't do anything that's going to put you in a position to really hurt, your well-being in real life, right?
All right. So here's my thesis. Okay, crypto is NFTs. I honestly don't know what it is besides. If anyone can make a compelling case as to what crypto is besides NFTs, and if you give me global financial transacting layer, you can shove that right up your ass, because the amount of money that's transacted on fucking crypto isn't even a drop in the bucket compared to the stock market, the bond market, the real estate. It's insignificant. It could be manipulated by $1 billion. It's insignificant. Okay. And the total value of crypto, 1.5 trillion, whatever the fuck it is. The total value of NFTs, 20 billion. That spread is going to close, motherfuckers. Now, we hope it's that the 20 billion goes up to 1.5 trillion, but I don't know what any of these other fucking coins do. They don't do anything. This is remarkable that people are sitting around here describing all this value to useless technology. The only thing crypto does is NFTs, period. That's why it was invented. Digital provenance. That's it. That is why I am so bullish on Ape. That is why Ape is going to be a $100 billion coin. It will be the third largest coin in the world because it is a liquid bet on NFT. Period.
Would you be more or less bullish on Ape if they actually went through and did their own chain?
Don't even care. I don't even care.
Don't care. It's just the name. It's the namesake. It's the idea behind it.
I don't care what Ape does. I don't care what their plans are for it. It is a liquid proxy for the NFT market.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that thesis whatsoever. I just, I know that you are an ETH maxi, and I just wondered if taking it off of ETH would change your
I do own quite a bit of Luna as well, which is an alt L1. Not sure if you've heard of it.
I've heard. Well, let's good segue into the news article that I had pulled up here. Terra's legal team resigns in wake of UST Luna collapse. 3 top in-house attorneys have parted ways with the beleaguered crypto company. You want the blood on the walls. You want to know when things are bad and that this thing is going to zero. It's the legal team, up and quitting and refusing to comment. They probably can't even comment. They definitely can't say why. They would have NDAs and all those privileges that I think are bound even after they're no longer attorneys for them. But yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I mean the legal team. The legal team obviously knows more than we do. And that is obviously concerning. I mean, do I blame them? No. You're talking about representing someone that's a walking liability. Like, not only did he do all these things that seem to be not kosher, I guess, for lack of a better term, but then he went on multiple shows and podcasts and bragged about stuff that doesn't make you look good, stuff that makes it hard to represent you. So I do not fault his legal team for doing this. This is probably not a great sign if you're a Terra holder, but I don't think you're looking for any signs if you were a Terra holder because you have gone to zero. I'm not saying this lightly. I mean, I
no, there's no smile on his face. Believe me, I can tell when he's smiling.
I genuinely feel for these people. I mean, we had someone on Spaces yesterday, and this person been in crypto a minute, and they lost $140,000 on Luna, not because they had invested in Luna like, oh, I believe in Terra. Do you know why it happened to them? They saw ETH starting to crash and decided to stable up. So think about that. They had never even used it, didn't even fucking care about it.
Oh, God.
Stabled up just because they thought ETH was crashing, and they wake up to that. Yo, I mean
that and that should have kind of crossed my mind, but that wasn't even a situation that had, because you're thinking like these conversations are weird because if you had bought Luna when it was $5, okay, and say you put $10,000 into it, you watched it 20x and into $200,000 or slightly more at the top. You now have that $200,000 in value sitting there, and then it crashed to zero. I mean, the gut inclination is to say I lost $200,000, and that's fine too, because you kind of measure everything by your current net worth. The hard thing with Terra is that it was anybody who would put any kind of money in at any way up that is now just at zero, and that's not normally the thing, because like the market dynamics are interesting when you talk about ETH, because there are so many people that had bought tons of ETH when it was $10, $100, even $1,000. If you entered at $1,000, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, yeah, sure, you're down from what you were a week ago. You're down from what you were 6 months ago. Absolutely. But you're still up, and still up quite a good return on investment over a lot of other things in that time. With Terra, it's everybody that had put any money into it before that collapse is just decimated. There's no recovering that, that's hard. There's no one that's feeling good about that situation.
No, and we will see what the final story is on Luna. As it's written, many people are still long the coin, hoping for some sort of restructuring news or rebound or FOMO rally. But in the end, this is obviously going to zero. We just have to find out how. And if it isn't, drinks on me.
Well, there you go, right? Yeah. 6 trillion supply. Yeah, this ain't going to $1. Well, actually, I mean, we had the conversation in the pre-show. I mean, it technically it could, but it probably wouldn't last for very long.
Oh, so, I mean, these things can do anything. Like this, you logically understand that a $6 trillion coin doesn't make sense, would be the largest coin in the world, would be the largest financial entity in the world.
I think that would make it bigger than gold.
Right. It would be bigger than a lot of stuff. The thing is, it doesn't matter. It's not like it would hold that value. It's not like that value actually exists out there. It would just be short-term buy-sell dynamics on exchanges. There's 2 exchanges that are trading this coin. If we got, and again, it would have to be believable, but let's say there was a rumor. I mean, what's the market cap right now? $2 billion, $3 billion. Let's say there was a rumor that some fund was just going to buy up this $2 or $3 billion and burn it, repeg it to UST, and then Luna is back. Now, that seems absurd because the same weakness is still in place. Why would some fund go dumping $3 billion into a trash fire with no logical way of getting the return back or whatever? But you spin a believable rumor that says that anything could happen. Anything could happen. And again, anything you put in there is 99.999% going to zero. But if you're wondering why people are jumping in to buy this crazy fucking thing that's like the demon, the pariah in our market right now, it's for a random thing like that happening. It's crypto. Crazy shit like that happens once a month, if not more.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Let's jump into some NFT news here. I got this article: Universal Music Group to release NFTs on LimeWire's Algorand marketplace. The major music label behind Taylor Swift, U2, Kendrick Lamar, BTS, will let artists drop NFTs on the new Web3 version of LimeWire. First, what a fucking time to be alive. Universal partnering up with LimeWire in a Web3 setting. Napster coming back. It's a wild shit. I mean, we're talking like two entities that were completely at odds with each other a mere 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I can't even remember when LimeWire was. Probably 20 years ago now. Crazy. Those music sharing apps really laid waste to the music industry. They were left scrambling to try and figure out what to do. Obviously, music streaming has kind of come around and restabilized things in a completely different way. But now Universal is going to be letting their artists drop NFTs. Music is one of those ones that we talked a lot about earlier on in the year as something to watch out for. Obviously, the state of the market has kind of pulled everything in a different direction, and but there's still these companies. They're forming partnerships. They're still participating. Clearly, Universal hasn't looked at the state of the crypto market and gone, "Oh, maybe we don't want to do this now." And I think that's actually a pretty bullish sign that people or that these entities are still willing to participate in it, whether or not you like it. They're not shying away from the ideas just because the market is down or the volume's drying up or whatnot. They're still building towards a Web3 sense. So I don't know if that makes you bullish or if you're still bullish on music NFTs, but I saw that pop up, and more or less just the headline was insane. Like just like what a Web3 kind of headline.
I'm bullish on music NFTs, barring technology. I think that NFTs are held back by lack of tech right now and lack of hardware. And I think that's one reason. And music NFTs are yet to see what I believe will be one of the greatest segments of the market. So it's only a matter of time. And this year we have seen photography and music NFTs kind of go for that next step. But especially in regards to music, I believe hardware is necessary to really allow it to shine and become what it can be.
Yeah, and you know what? There was an article. I actually don't know if we talked about it. I might have glazed over it during one episode. But there was a band really recently that issued NFTs that allowed the holders access to the royalties of the album, including the streaming and whatnot. It wasn't a large chunk. It was still like heavily favored towards the artist and whatnot. It was fine. It was also a free mint for the NFT, so I guess that's a little more fair. But the greater point to all of this is, I guess it would be pretty bullish because these big companies or these bands and whatnot definitely have legal representation that I would assume they pay pretty good money for. And for them to give them the go ahead to distribute royalties out to NFT holders is probably a pretty good sign for things, or at least a sign that the regulation is not there enough that they can do anything about it. The government or the SEC or whatever. I mean,
yeah, probably. I would speculate.
Like I gotta believe that they've looked into that, right? Like
probably.
Oh yeah. So, all right, let's talk about real quickly. Just Karafuru dropping yesterday. They dropped their 3D versions of it. It's going to be a 15,000 supply. 10,000 is going to the public. They did the Dutch auction, a fair Dutch auction yesterday. Looked like it minted out at about 0.33 if I caught it. I didn't see what exactly was the bottom, but somewhere in there. Started at 0.5, so not a big drop. And again, I'm not a big fan of fair Dutch auctions, but it is what it is. They are sitting at a 0.4 floor. But again, Karafuru doing really well, holding their own through kind of this downturn in the market. And it's taken a pretty big dump after that too. And it's just one of those things that, like, is this an instance where they're trying to do too much too soon? I mean, it wasn't too long ago, a couple of days ago, that it was trading at over 2.5 ETH, 2.6 ETH right there, and they've kind of pulled all of those, all of that ETH out of it and put it into this Karafuru 3D. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Karafuru had been around for long enough and held its floor for long enough. But again, I don't know. What's your take on this? I know you were never a big fan of Karafuru too.
Yeah, I hate Karafuru, and I love this move. I think that I do. I think here's what this says to me. It says to me Karafuru is legit, and they're gonna keep building, and they're going to release on their product schedule and not the market schedule. Now,
well, that I agree with. I do appreciate anybody that can say, I'm not worried about the market. We're going to do what we're doing.
Yep. And now what's the difference between this and Alien Friends? Okay. This is not diluted. All right. This isn't an extra these are the 3D versions. Okay. These are the ones that they're probably going to use in the metaverse. This is their cyber comms. Okay.
But how is it not dilutive when they're adding an extra 10,000, 15,000 NFTs into the supply?
Because I don't think people are buying these to become part. I don't think separate people are buying these to just become part of the Karafuru ecosystem. I think this is the next tool in their arsenal. People will, but what I'm saying is that this is an actual roadmap item. This isn't just a cash grab. There are useful reasons for. Contrast it with somebody like Alien Friends. What's the useful reason for a mutant? That's a direct message. We're trying to expand our collector base. There was nothing that the mutant played into their lore. The mutant doesn't do anything different for you besides like be in the metaverse or whatever.
And in regards to the Alien Friends, the mutants, the evolution ones, there was some slight shadowing that kind of made them like maybe a little more clean and slightly more detailed. But by and large, you could put some of them side by side with the traditional Alien Friends, and I wouldn't have been able to even tell them apart.
Right. So here's, and this is something that I've thought about recently too, right? Like, floor price is not indicative of how much projects are building at all. Okay. I mean, I'll use Little Lemon Friends as an example. I think that project has done more than 99% of projects out there. Okay. That doesn't mean they should have a high floor. I'm not saying, the people are ignoring, the market is wrong, they should be higher. No, your floor price is 100% dependent on your marketing, and their marketing sucks. Okay. That is why Little Lemons are at the floor price that they're at. But when you look at what they've delivered, that's more than most projects. And when I see Karafuru, I believe this 3D collection is delivering on what they believe will be a valuable item for their roadmap. When I see Alien Friends auctioning off a Tesla and basically making the same collection twice for no apparent reason, I think it's a cash grab. So I was never a big fan of Karafuru because I just thought it was way too close to Murakami's work from 10 years ago. And that type of thing. But it's obviously a very, very loved collection, and they're serious. They're building. They're actually making things, and I appreciate that. And I believe long term, these things will matter to floor price. But in the short term, everything's about marketing. It's all about attention, and that's why I think Karafuru has suffered. I mean, they're part of the anime meta, but they're not part of like the realistic person anime meta, right? So they've just been a little forgotten, so to say, and you know.
Oh man, the Karafuru are actually kind of running right now too. They just saw a big jump. Just even in the time that I pulled this up.
That was here was another interesting thing, right? Like I had seen them trying to get some hype from this. They had given some of my friends allow lists to be, you know, putting out on Twitter and trying to get hype for it and everything. And then within you know, a few hours of the pre-sale going live, they were sitting at mint price on OpenSea, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is going to be a failure. Just another one of those things, you know, sitting at mint price. Are they even going to sell out?" That type of thing. This very much feels to me like one of those things that could actually rally. It's everybody got too bearish too quick because they saw that the price was dipping close to pre-sale. But I think we're actually going to find out whether there's demand for these things or not. And my gut tells me there is. I do think people like Karafurus. And I think people will use paper hands as an entry into this. And I could actually see it getting back, you know, getting above mint price and even having a little run. Now, I don't know how.
I can't even disagree with you on that. I think you're 100% right. Yeah.
And I don't know how to stay. Again, nothing is holding anything. It gets attention for 2 days and then it goes. I mean, look at Phantom, right? Like everything gets attention for a few days and then people move on and forget. And that's just the phase of the market we're in. But I could see a nice little pop here. Once they sell out and
yeah, Deken's is saying someone had a good tweet about this showing how collections peak and fall off on these dilutive moves. Think it was related to floor, showing there's not enough liquid for the additional. I'm assuming the rest of that is supply.
Yeah, this is something I've been screaming about.
It happens all the time. Yeah, for sure, and that's why you gotta wait and see. I think that's why Azuki was able to do it in a good way. You know, they could. You know, if you're sitting at a 25 ETH floor and all of a sudden you pull a little bit out of that, you're going from 25 to maybe 24, 23 and a half, like somewhere in there. Like that's you're all right. You're all right. But when, you know, you don't have the demand to kind of prop all of that up and then you dilute the shit out of your supply. Yeah, you're pulling way too much out of your initial collection. You know, even we saw it with Cool Cats and Cool Pets, and now that was a lot of execution based issues there. But you could even argue that maybe perhaps they weren't really quite ready for that. I don't know. They would have been like right on the line.
Cool Cat's almost near my target. I believe they were 3.7 last time I checked.
Yeah, all JRP saying, all I know is that they said they will always benefit the initial holders. Yeah, and I mean, that definitely is important too. The initial holders are getting a 1-to-1 airdrop of for Karafuru, I'm assuming.
Oh, for the Karafuru stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So of that 15,555 supply, the 5,555 original Karafurus are getting one of these airdropped to them. 4,000 was in the public Dutch auction, and 6,000 are going to a private sale, which is 70% or 70% of the price of the final mint. So probably somewhere about quarter ETH.
You see, all it took was the entire market hating something for me to change my tune on both Azuki and Karafuru. Bullish on both now. I like both collections because all of you hate them. And if all of you start to like them again, I'll turn the fucking FUD out. Come on, baby.
You know what? Actually, I should bring this up too, because it is one of the fun things about it. Like JRP saying, you'll be able to create the toys, since the nature of their company or their partnerships. In order to create the toy, you will need to have an original Karafuru and a 3D one. So that's cool. You need to, obviously diamond hand both of them to grab one of those toys. These style of toys, I mean, people love them. You see those pop toys at all the GameStop and everything. Just the walls and walls of them. Even my kid, he loves collecting these things. So I do like this style. I don't think it's a complete game changer or revolutionary idea or whatever, but I could definitely see, that being important to Karafuru holders, getting physical stuff too, right? People love that shit. It's something physical, it's something tactile that is kind of representing your passion for the community, which I'm definitely here for.
Karafuru.
There you go. Free market. Bullish on Karafuru. Who would have thought? Probably not so bullish on Not Okay Bears. You want to jump into this one real quick? Yesterday, while we were on the show, Not Okay Bears delisted from OpenSea. I don't think it should have been a shock to anyone except the founder took it as a shock. Immediately, the volume shifted over to Looks Rare. They were getting dumped. They actually got caught back up on Looks Rare. Last I checked, maybe like a 0.15 floor. Actually, I have it pulled up. Let's see what's going on there. No, they're down bad now. 0.035 floor on ETH, but
the down battery continues.
What's that?
I said the down battery continues.
Well, I mean, what a perfect time for something like this to happen after we were just talking about the Azuki kind of drama scandal, if you want to call it that, where, he was responsible for the funks. The funks were literally just flipped copies of the CryptoPunks, and people were like, well, what are you expecting from something like this? Again, what are you expecting from something like Not Okay Bears? That's fine. I mean, I think most people were aware of the fact that it was a pure degen play. Most of the people that I saw participating in it totally understanding that, but the founder, I guess, did not understand that, and he took to Twitter Spaces. I have the clip. You gave me the clip, but do you know what Spaces this was from? Were you listening live to this?
No, I was not listening live to it. I don't know what Spaces it would from. It's inconsequential. What is consequential is the clip, because we will listen to this man
bare his heart and soul out on Twitter Spaces. Let me pull this up, get that going. Actually, I'll mute the music for a second here too.
And while, guys, this is not okay, I want you to know it's okay to cry.
OpenSea took 2.5% of 3.3k ETH, and no one saw any of that. And that's more than we even donated. I just that is the perspective that they just literally took the collection and the ETH gone, bro, and the ETH and the ETH and the ETH and the ETH gone, bro.
Yeah, and what I was gonna
OpenSea took 2.5% of 3.3.
Oh boy, there's some stuff to unpack there. I am not a blockchain detective. However, I was looking in the Not Okay Bears contract, and it did look like they made about 180 ETH that was transferred out of that. Now, he said that they donated it.
Bro.
He said that they donated it, but I like you're doing a good impression, actually. He's adding up the 2.5% of the 3,300 ETH in volume that they did, and I guess that would be what, 75. I don't even know. Quick math. Quite a bit of ETH, and he's crying. This guy took a Sol project, flipped it over, put it on ETH, and is out there just bawling his eyes out during the fact that OpenSea made royalties on this and he didn't. And now, hold on, I gotta stop screen share. I got to change the screen back to the other one. You go on their Twitter, the Not Okay Bears Twitter, and they're saying, oh, maybe did they fucking delete it? Oh yeah, what happened was not okay. So this is 14 hours ago. This is like only a little bit after they got delisted from OpenSea. We're launching a new and redesigned collection. No risk of IP infringement or being delisted from #OpenSea. Stealth launch in 24 hours. First 200 mints free. Supply 4,000 NFTs. Price 0.05. So they have a full collection ready to go in under 48 hours. that they are now going to be trying to make another 200 ETH off of 20% donated towards mental health. Cool. Good for them. What the fuck is this? I don't know. You minting?
How much did they give to the mental health? I forgot.
20% of whatever they pull in there. They're going to do 200 ETH.
Yeah.
At this rate, that's going to be about $1,000.
Nice.
No, I don't know. This, participate if you're being a degen, and you want to play, but this is one of those things that if it looks like shit and it smells like shit.
I don't recommend that at all. Don't play. This play is over. I don't know why.
Well, I'm not recommending it at all.
No.
I'm saying if you this is like buying Luna.
But that's the thing. It's not a good degen. Buying Luna is a great degen play. Something could happen there. Okay, Bears is over. It was a meme for a day. It was a great cook for anyone who got in it, but it's over.
I'm new to this space. What's everyone saying about Star Wolves in the context of this conversation? Not sure which context of which conversation. Maybe provide a little bit more information on what you're asking there, and I can speak to it. Discord hacks. That was a fun one. I mean, we kind of outlined that at the middle of the show, but yeah, guys, be careful out there. No server is safe, as it turns out. But Me6 bot. They're saying Me6 wasn't compromised. They're saying some servers have reported Me6 being used to post unwanted messages. There is no technical breach in our systems. This was due to one of our employees' account getting compromised. The issue is now fixed. We've taken all the steps to make sure it never happens again. That's good news. The list of Discords hacked were pretty big, actually. We had Artifact, Alien Friends, Cool Cats, Phantom Network, Hate, Axie Infinity, Psst, My Pet Hooligans, Blockworks, Moonbirds and Proof, Memeland, 9gag, Magic Eden. The list goes on, but those were some of the biggest ones there. You made a good point. Like, none of these projects were kind of in the midst of, a secondary drop or any kind of mint that they were looking to be part of. So I think the damages were probably minimal, but I don't have a complete answer on that. But if you're in a Discord, I think most projects that are operating in good communication skills and whatnot, like, I don't think that they're ever going to just drop a stealth mint on their community as like a secondary project or whatever. We see this with Bored Apes all the time. Oh, the Bored Ape into it. But Artifact is, I don't think, just going to be at 10 o'clock in the evening on a random Tuesday being like, by the way, we're minting this, right? So just stay safe out there.
Correct.
That's some coordinated attack there if it's not Me6's fault. Yeah. Well, apparently a compromised employee. You want to talk about BGANs? I know you were pretty pumped to see Punk6529 share their...
You know what that one is? That's a floaty head. So you got
your... Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize it was...
You got your hypes, okay? And there's different level of hypes, okay? This is the floaty head hype. This is a rare hype BGAN to have gone from a 0.05 floor to a 0.14 floor in the last week or so. And I tweeted out my weekly, if not monthly, reminder about BGANs, as it is arguably my favorite NFT collection of all time, especially if we're talking about historic NFTs, what I consider historic. And Punk6529, one of the great thought leaders in our space, of course, a large BGAN holder. Here's something I will say. If you look at the first 4 pages of BGANs on Rarity Tools, you'll be lucky if you find 2 for sale. Okay? These are held by the most important collectors and thought leaders in our industry. They are a beloved collection. that is just the whipping boy of our of NFTs. They are bastards, as their name implies. They never get a fair shake. But I will remind you and contend that one day these will have a 1-to-10 ratio with punks. And ideally, that means punks don't fall to 1.4 ETH over the next few weeks. Ideally, that means they rise to about 5. But I truly believe, as I've said before, these are the heir apparent to punks. I believe they are better aesthetically as an art form. They moved the idea of punks forward. They've evolved it in a beautiful, brilliant way. Burke, Princess Camel, aka Burke, is a genius, an unrecognized genius. He employed a GON similar to art blocks in the creation of this collection, and I will never stop talking about how much I love it. It will get its fair shake eventually, and I buy one a week usually. I love these things. They are.
This one is so cool. I like, you know, and this is what I love about them too, right? And yeah, I have a couple of them. It was actually the first NFT that I bought on Free Markets Advice, if you couldn't tell. But you know, there is so much discovery in this collection that you can just look through, and every time I just scroll through the pages, there's something in there that I go, oh shit, I've never seen something like that, like this background there. Never seen that before. Never seen something like that before. The glitched out backgrounds are all, you know
what I want,
randomized through that GON and whatnot. And you just, no two are even remotely alike. Well,
you see the one with the double smoker with the pink hair?
This one.
That's one of my grails, yeah. And then a hoodie. The thing is, there will never be a hoodie for sale. There will never be a hoodie for sale until they're going for 50 Ether. I guarantee. I know who owns the hoodies. They don't give a shit. They don't need it. They're not ever gonna put them up for sale. You are never gonna get hoodie B-Gons. I will contend would be harder to get than a punk hoodie, than a hoodie punk. That is how coveted. People do not understand how much these are loved by the right people. And again, it's only a matter of it's hard, you know. I can tell you a million reasons why this collection is a difficult one to create that classic hype cycle for. I'll give you a little B-Gon price history. If people don't know, these minted on a bonding curve. You've probably never heard that before. That these started off as a 0.1 mint and went up as they were minted. So by the time they minted out, they were at 0.6 or 0.7, if I remember correctly. Now that sounds very expensive to all of you, I bet, as a mint price, though you'll have to remember that ETH was, if I remember, $1,500 at the time. So you're looking at maybe $750. Now
March 10th, 2021, they minted.
Yeah, something like that. 2021. Yeah. So yeah. Now fast forward to the summer when NFTs went quote unquote mainstream. B-Gons were down to 0.02 from a 0.7 sellout. Okay. And at the time, I want to say ETH was about $2,000. I forget exactly where it was at that time, $2,000 or $3,000. So they were maybe $60, about down 90% off of their low. Over that summer, they caught a rally and ended up getting all the way up to 1 ETH when ETH was above $3,500. So anybody who paid the 0.6 at mint were actually up in dollar terms of 4x, but then they crashed, and they were part of the art block summer rally. They were not the fall and winter rally that we experienced after that.
Well, they actually ripped just after I bought my first NFT one, and it was just like they crossed the 1 ETH floor pretty briefly. Yeah. But
and
I had that like NFTs are easy.
And of course, they were absolutely decimated back down to this, point. Like I said, as of last week, I was buying them for 0.05, I believe, or a little bit over 0.05. And here's a little tip for everybody. If you're buying floors, you're buying ones you expect to flip, go check out the NTFX Vault.
Dude, you actually just took the words out of my mouth. This is a very easy collection to buy, ones that you really like and want to hold on to, and ones that you can flip.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody has different ones that they vibe with. You've shown me ones that I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't love it.
honestly,
And
there
then there's some that I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, there are a ton that I hate. I'm just like, that one didn't work. I mean, and think about like the process with making these, right? Like this was, so when I say a GON, if you guys don't know what that is, that's a generative adversarial network. And the type that was used for BGONs is the same that is used for art blocks. Okay, so this isn't like just the random one that puts traits together. This makes all the glitchies and the color, this really takes them to another level. Now, he had been messing with this algorithm for a minute to get a high percentage of what he considered quality. So I think about, the tweaks he must have made and the iterations and the first few runs, and maybe he only got like 500 that looked good. And it must have been an incredible process to get this to where it was, where the majority of them look good. But hey, with these, and just like with any collection, there are ones I love, like, and hate. And the ones you hate, you're just like, I don't know how anybody would wear that thing. And these are divisive. I feel like they're not the thing your average person looks at and goes, wow, those are really nice. They're very, they're deep cuts, as I like to call. You know how like the DJ, when he goes up in the club, he's gonna play hit songs that everybody knows and loves. But when he's at home and he's pulling records off his shelf, he's listening to weird ass deep shit that you don't understand. But those are that's like what
that's actually a really good comparison. I like.
No,
that.
it is, and that is what B got. These are the deep cuts, and one day the deep cuts will be what's popular. All right, but until then, this is my 401k, baby. I be buying these B-Gons all the time. I truly, deep down in my bones, know they'll be 10 ETH one day. But look, I'm talking to a bunch of traders. I can't tell you to lock your ETH up for 6 months, a year, 2 years, waiting for something like that to happen when you're a flipper. But for a person like me who really believes in NFTs long term, and I know a lot of you don't. I know a lot of you believe everything's going to zero, flip, stack ETH, get out as quick as possible. These are my.
And that's fine too. We're
just fine. I'm not arguing.
This is here.
For the other side, for those that actually believe, like me, this is my 401k. I love these things. B-Gons to the moon, baby.
Ooh, that's a cool one.
I'll tell. So besides the hoodie, of course, my other grail is a black background, of which all of them are owned by Diamond Hands, who are never letting them go. But as a big Apple Watch guy, any NFT with a black background is preferable because it's OLED. So the blacks on it are 1 billion to 1 contra, like it's actual black because it just turns off the pixels. It's deep black, and they look so good on the Apple Watch when your NFT has a black background. So in collections I love, I'm always looking for those to try.
This was this is the first NFT I ever bought.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell a lie. Ghost made me a profile picture, which is the reason why I signed up for OpenSea, and I did grab that off of him. That was a BitClout thing. You remember that. But that was more of like a transactional thing. This is the first one like I ever went out and like bought. And fucking love this one.
Great one. Just took another leg down on ETH. We're now at $1,970 even. 1950. We do not want to lose that area. And we're seeing some unusual buy spikes over the last hour or two in Luna. Now, there are a lot of people that believe, and rightly so, if you've been watching the chart, that ETH is inversely correlated to Luna. Like right now, if Luna were to have a big pop, ETH would dip. In the sense that like Luna shouldn't be popping. In an efficient, smart market, it should be going to zero, and we should be clearing out that dead capital as quick as possible so we can resume on our mark. I think that's what the velocity is. And you're seeing some interesting buy spikes in Luna as ETH tanks. So maybe we get some unholy Luna rumor today that tanks the rest of the market but sends Luna to the moon. That'll be our bear trap. We finally get our double bottom in ETH. We rally to the fucking moon and everyone's happy. Come on. One time.
I'm here for it.
Time.
One time. Oh God, that's bringing me back.
Thank you, right? One time.
Holy.
My computer.
I haven't said one time in a minute.
One time!
Oh my God. For anyone not in the know, that was like that old school poker term.
Right. And it's
my God. Being in the that's bringing me back to like the poker room.
Yeah.
Like the IRL poker room. You just see somebody stand up and yell, one time.
Because you get your fucking money in, you go all in, you got to flip your cards, and then you're watching the turn and the river, right? And as they come down, you're just, you're saying, and it's a lie, because you'll say it 10 times that you're saying one fucking time!
Yeah, just one time, and everyone's like, dude, you had this 8 times already. Just shut the fuck up. There's always like a couple of like really loud people in the room though.
Oh my God, look, those visceral.
Oh, I miss it.
When you are down bad and you have a 99% chance of hitting that river and it hits, I will release quite the, depends, of course. If your tournament life is on the line and you're deep in a tournament and you are 99% to lose on that river and they flip the one card in the deck you need, that's a feeling, people. That's a dopamine rush. I will tell you right now.
Still use my one time for every mint. I love it. I love it, man. I need to go DJing at a casino sometime soon. It has been years since
WSOP starting in Vegas soon. Also, Electric Daisy Carnival.
I don't know if I'm gonna do World Series this year. I thought about it. I seriously thought about it, but
I don't have COVID. That was a
it starts soon, eh? Shit. May 31st.
First year, it's not in the Rio.
It's at Bally's. Bally's. What was it at before? Binions, right?
No, the Rio.
No, even before that.
Oh, Binions, yeah.
Yeah.
Binions downtown. They just couldn't fit the numbers in there. It was like 1,000 max.
Yeah. Last year at the Rio, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Remember the year they did it outside? It was Stu Unger's last year playing, and they actually did it outside. They held the final table outside, and it was so windy. The cards kept getting blown away, and they never did it again.
That seems like a stupid idea.
Yep.
I don't want to see fresh air and sunshine when I'm playing poker either.
Correct.
Maybe on a cruise ship. Even the Poker Stars cruise ship they did it at inside, right?
Yep.
Well, it would be windy out there. Yeah, for sure. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm gonna watch Rounders now. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do.
There you go. Get you pumped.
The one legitimately good poker movie. Unless you could think of another one.
Maverick.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't say Maverick was a poker. Like I know it was, but like it was more of like a movie with a lot of poker in it.
And here's the thing: the poker in Maverick is fugazi. It's that old, it's not real like actual poker. They bend rules a little bit with like table stakes and shit like that. Like the biggest faux pas that all movies make is they don't understand what table stakes is. Like some rich guy can just come in and keep putting money on the table to win a hand. That obviously doesn't make any sense, right? Like you could only bet what's on the table.
Yeah. I bet you my car.
Right, I bet my car. I throw my keys. That's not how life works, right? It's not how poker works. But Maverick showed a lot of psychology. It showed more of the esoterics. Like people put way too much emphasis on physical tells. Like when a new player comes in, they think a lot of poker is like, oh, his eye twitched, so I know he's bluffing. That shit is so rare that you actually get a good physical tell that is positive EV.
Yeah, I've only ever had one that it was it was like bank the money on it. You could play off of it.
Right.
You need a huge sample size to confirm.
Yeah, people do weird shit. Like people act very weird at poker tables, and if you think you have a tell, sometimes you don't or whatever. But that tends to be where movies exaggerate or whatever. But I did find that Maverick displayed how you could use physical tells well, and I also thought there was some good poker psychology there. Also,
I think that was the only bad part about rounders, honestly, is when they go to Jersey and they're like bust these people up with their tells, like that's like real, like, you know, I think that was a pretty good nod to like all of it, but at the same time, I think most real poker pros were just like
betting patterns, like what your tells are betting like what you're looking at is how this person bet when they bluff, how they bet when they had a good hand.
Everyone thinks they're so sneaky with the check raise.
Right. You observe how they're playing that way. It's not about the physical tells or whatever.
Yeah.
One time.
You know what? The other good poker movie that I was thinking about, and it wasn't like serious. It was The Grand. Have you ever seen that? It's a comedy about like a big poker tournament, but like Woody Harrelson, David Cross, Jason Alexander's in it, Ray Romano. It was pretty good. Gabe Kaplan.
Nice.
I haven't seen it in a minute, so don't quote me on it, but that was a pretty funny one.
Huge poker player, Gabe Kaplan. If you guys don't know,
he died, didn't he?
He did. That was one of the harder moments because as a kid growing up, Welcome Back, Kotter. I don't know if you guys watched Welcome Back, Kotter back in the day. John Travolta's launch to stardom. Welcome back. Hey, Welcome Back, Kotter. That was classic. And Gabe Kaplan was the star of that show. Absolutely brilliant.
Wait, he's not dead.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Or was it his co-star that died? Somebody from that.
Yeah. It was Mike Sexton.
Yes, Mike did that.
Gabe Kaplan still hosts High Stakes Poker. That was
I love Mikey, man.
He's getting old though.
I played with him a few times. Yeah, Gabe. Yeah, he must be getting old. Sorry,
he's almost 80. Crazy.
No, but finally back to so he's a big poker player, like literally a good professional quality poker player who called games. He was an announcer for a while too. So. Yeah,
because he does High Stakes Poker. I love that. That was like one of the few like poker shows that I actually really liked watching.
I never played with him, but I played with Mike a few times on the World Series.
You don't have like some Johnny Chan story. Like Mike McDermott.
I played with Phil Ivey and Doyle and quite a few other people. But
I would not want to be at the same table as Phil Ivey.
Yeah, that was definitely the scary one. It's true too. Once you become one of those guys, your reputation plays a lot of hands for you. People play scared against you. They don't want to bluff you. They think that they always think you're, and it was just crazy, like you'd see the table playing a certain way, and then all of a sudden they'd sit down and just completely change the temperament of the table and how people were playing. Every table you sit down at, you're going to have a fast player, like the guy who thinks he can control the table and is raising every pot before the flop. And then there's the guy who's the rock, who's just going to sit there and he always is the nuts. And, there are people who they have their role at the table and all of it changes when one of those guys sits down. Everyone starts playing scared. Most people. Or there's one or two people who purposely go up against them to try to prove something. And one or two things would always happen. They would take the pro out with some ridiculous, like 10-3 offsuit because they were trying to play a bluff against them. The pro called the bluff, and then it was like runner 3-3 or something like that. Like you would see that, and oh my God, it was so bad. Like when you would see that happen, the pro would just have the worst fucking, like this fucking idiot. Like I knew he was bluffing. I called him down, then they river me, blah, blah, blah. Or you would just see them be idiots and then bluff them with 10-3. They get called down and they'd be gone in a second. Like the guy who was running the table and everyone was scared of him and he'd be gone in fucking.
I love like the soul stare and then the call with like the king high to win. Oh man.
Best call I ever made was with Jack High.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Though, honestly, folding with trip aces and calling with Jack High are the two best plays I can remember. It's not hitting a crazy river or getting a royal flush. It's calling with something like Jack High or folding something that looked like almost the absolute nuts, but you just knew this person had the nuts. Like those.
I laid down an open face, and it was for my own ego stroke too, of course. But like you turn over the setted full house.
Yep.
Because you know the other guy has the fucking quads because he's 80 years old and he doesn't, he doesn't 4-bet you on anything but the absolute stone cold nuts. Like they could have an ace high flush and they're not 4-betting you on that, right? Like you just know, and you just turn it over and you say, take it with your quads, and everyone goes, oh. Like, what do you think he's doing? This guy hasn't bluffed in 20 fucking years. Yeah, I love it. Oh, those are good times. We'll have to do that soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a no limit degen. That's my problem. I have a hard time with no limit.
Yeah.
It's just not what I came up playing, right? Like I didn't. What?
Nothing. I didn't.
Oh, you're laughing at me.
Let's play. No. We should play.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying I want to play heads up against you. You fucking chop me up.
It'll be fun. Heads up. I haven't played in so long. I'd probably do that. But I tell everyone, poker's luck in any single game. Like over time, maybe I have an edge, but in any game, any single game, it's luck. You got a shot.
Yeah, you need like millions of hands, right? Like,
no,
okay, sorry, not live, but like, I mean, you can online, you can run good for,
Yeah, I mean, they
millions
say
is definitely an exaggeration.
They say you play about 200,000 hands a year. If you're a professional putting in like 8 hours or more a day, you will play about 200,000 hands.
Not live.
No.
Yeah, live is so
online.
Slow. I mean, you're lucky to get 50
online
hands an hour, depending on the
That was it. Well, that was such the interesting thing about the new crop of players, right? Like you have Doyle Brunson, who's been playing poker for 70 years, right? Yeah. It probably took him 50 years to see a million hands.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. So with 50 years, it takes them to get to a certain level of hand memory. A lot of these kids did it in 3 to 5 years. So these kids sitting down at the table literally in 5 years have the same hand history as an 80-year-old man. Yeah. That was why. And don't get me wrong, okay? There is a lot of value in what Doyle Brunson did compared to what these kids online did, especially when we're talking about live tournaments in Vegas. Like a lot of these online players weren't used to playing live and vice versa. And that they'd either like wipe a tournament down because they would just play, constant raise. They're like very aggressive. And it was just like an unfair, blah, blah, blah. Or they would just run too fast, too quick, and these guys would cloud up. But it completely changed the temperament of poker.
Well, the other hard thing for the online degens were most of them use the poker tracker and stuff, and it's displaying information for you, right? And once you go online, like you try keeping that stuff in your head, it's a whole different ballgame.
And they were like that. The old players had profiles in their head on everything. Like that was how they were able to play it, especially when you're talking.
You have to pay attention even when you're not in the hand. I mean, that's the real thing. You want to know who's good at a poker table. You watch who is paying attention when they folded pre-flop, right? Those are the guys you want to watch for, not the ones just dicking around on their phones, wandering around, getting up from the table, walking around and stuff like that. Like when someone's paying attention on the hands that they're not playing, because online poker players don't do that, right? They've got 5 tables going. They have a hand going at all time.
They play 15 tables at once, so they're not paying attention. They let the tracker track everything. Now sites have tried to eliminate that.
I think you can only play 4 tables at a time on PokerStars now too.
They limit how many tables you can play? Interesting. I mean, man, some of these you'd see them double monitors with 10 tables on each monitor. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And again, they're just quickly doing math in their head. It's basically muscle memory at that. Online, it's very, very math based. Okay.
It's hard, man. Yeah. Online poker is fucking hard.
It is extremely math based. Yes, you know, especially as you get down to the ends of tournaments. Okay, we're not talking about cash games or heads up, but when you get down to the end of a tournament, yeah, you're going to really start paying attention to betting patterns and watching your opponents more. But early on, you get so many chips relative to the small blinds, and you see so many hands per hour that there's really no reason to not just play straight poker. Like, there's no reason to bluff early on in an online. Say, hey, you're literally wasting money. It's not EV to bluff early on.
I remember that one year in the World Series of Poker where somebody checked in and then didn't show up or something, and their poker chips just sat there.
Yeah.
And the ongoing joke was that, like, this guy has outlasted 3,000 people by literally doing nothing.
Phil Hellmuth shows up late to every tournament.
Yeah. He doesn't want to be involved in that early. Oh, I need to get up to an early chip lead.
For the most part, you can only get in trouble, right? In real poker, the amount of money you have, in a sense, matters because you can always keep reloading to the table in a cash. If you believe you have an edge and you have unlimited money, you'll eventually make a profit if you actually have that edge, of course. In a tournament, it's up to the cards because if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. So the only thing that matters is your stack relative to the blinds. Okay, there's a number that all poker players use to determine how big their stack is relative to the blinds. And until it hits a certain level, there's no reason to play anything except straight poker. In other words, I have good hand, I bet. I have bad hand, I fold. Like, that's really the only thing you do early on.
And if somebody wants to try and get fancy on you, you got a good hand. You just you calm down. You don't even have to get super fucking aggressive and just try and, like, oh, I'm gonna knock this guy off his hand. Take the money he's giving you.
And if it's real, you know, and if it's like really a tough decision, like, oh, I probably have the winning hand, but he may be, but like that, just fold. Doesn't even, okay, maybe he bluffed you that way. It's so early, it doesn't matter. Let him bluff you once or twice. Let them think they know how to bluff you. There you go.
Right, yeah.
Traps for later in the tournament. Much more valuable than trying to win, 0.01% of your stack in a crazy bluff. Anyway,
we're changing the name of the show to the Free Market and R2 Show, where we talk about whatever the fuck we want. Actually, that sounds kind of fun.
I like it.
What do you want to talk about tomorrow?
Weed.
Olympic swimming.
We could do weed and
Michael
Olympic
Phelps.
swimming by talking about Phelps. Exactly.
There you go. Poker mornings. Yeah, I'm in for it. Love it. All right, dude. Let's wrap this show up. I know you got the squeeze coming up. It's still an hour away, but I got some stuff I gotta do. Got a couple of meetings to take today. Should be pretty good. And of course, seeing if anything interesting happens in this market. Let's give it one final check before we wrap it up. We are at $1,975 on ETH. Looking pretty gnarly right now. S&P down almost 2%, also taking a beating. So here we are. Tomorrow could be an interesting day to talk more about the markets. We'll dig up some NFT stuff for you, but always a great conversation. Anything else you want to touch on before we run it down?
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate 20 of you guys sticking around for our poker conversation too. So yeah, AlphaMint hosted live poker tournament in Vegas. Who knows? Could happen. Again, talked a lot about the markets this morning. It's in a precarious spot. Again, who knows if we're at the bottom or if there's more pain to come. We will find out in real time. We talked about Terra's legal team leaving them. Not a good sign. Talked a bit about Karafuru. Free market surprisingly bullish on Karafuru all of a sudden. We got Not Okay Bears, and the founder of Not Okay Bears is not okay, as it turns out. Went down the road on the Begons, as we both love that project. And what else did we talk about? We talked a little bit. Oh, the Discord hacks and some P2E gaming, I think, at the beginning. So if you showed up late, it's all there for you at your disposal. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, as we do every single morning. Free market, get us out of here.
May all your cards be live and your pots be monsters. We'll see you next time on the World Poker Tour.